tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create your own API in Node.js and deploy it into Heroku. I found Heroku to be like one of the easiest ways of deploying an API into like a production environment with HTTPS and all that good stuff. So let's go and get started. Let's create a little node application here. So we could do maker. We could say node API Heroku. Okay, and then once we do that, we could go inside of this node API Heroku. Now we should be able to npm init. The -y is going to take all of our defaults. Now we should be able to install Express with cores. Oh, and also we're gonna hook it up with MongoDB. Let's also do .env. Let's make this thing bigger. Nice. Express cores, MongoDB, .env, and I'll show you what .env does in a little bit. But let's get that running. Once we have that there, we should be able to touch index.js, also a git ignore. Also, let's create a .env, which is where we're going to put our environment variables, and that's where we're going to use the .env module package that we just installed for. So we did that, yeah, we should be good. Let's open it up in code. Let's take a look. And okay, let's start up with our index.js, so we can start importing. So we can say import express from express, right? But if we're using the import modules, now we need to make sure that we're using the type module in package JSON. Okay, so that way we're not using the old school require module coming from common.js. So let's also import cores from cores. Let's also import the dots env config. Okay, now we get an express function from that module where we could create an app from that, and on that app we could call use, where you could use the cores to make sure that we are able to access our API from another application. Okay, and then we don't get like cores issues or whatever. I'm gonna put on my hat because my hair is horrible today. Cool, and then use express, and we're gonna make sure we always receive JSON when we create any post. Then we could look at the listen, and on the listen we could just use like port 4040 for example. That takes in a callback function where we could say res, console log API running there. And then once we have it there, we should be able to do node mon, or just node dot, because it's gonna pick up the index by default, and it's running right away. Awesome, cool. So let's go ahead and bring in also the Mongo. So let's do import. We're gonna import some stuff from Mongo Db, and what we're gonna bring in is the Mongo client, which is a class that comes from Mongo. So we use the Mongo client. It's a method class. We're gonna instantiate it. We're gonna create a new one and just call it client. Okay, and that was my timer. Okay, and then once we have the client, we could reach in and have a database. Let's call it something like, I don't know, games. Okay, and let's give that a name. So say database. Okay, once we have a database, we could reach in and go into a collection and say, for example, what types of games are we gonna do here? So let's say, just say game store. Game store, and then we just say like all the games in there. So say const, and like this, now we should be able to reach into that client and use that connect method, and then just have a console log here to see if we connect to Mongo Db. Now, if you're trying to run it, right, it's gonna give us an error because the secondary item. Let's float this on top real quick. This Mongo client takes in a URI. Okay, it takes in a URI, which usually we create like this URI, and it's like a long path with some username and password that we get from MongoDB. Okay, so let's go get that real quick. Let's go into our if you're already in Mongo, I'm gonna go to Mongo Atlas. So let me just log in. Okay, so once you go into Mongo Atlas, you just go like Mongo Atlas in your browser. You go to the one down here. Don't go to the ads because it's gonna probably take you to a different place. We're gonna go ahead and log in with my Google. I don't want to remember another username and password. And then we're gonna click on connect. When you click on connect, I'm gonna use this MongoDB Compass. If you don't have a cluster, just go ahead and create a cluster. Okay, inside of this cluster, you can have a lot of databases. Inside of database, you can have a lot of collections. So I'm gonna connect to Mongo using the Compass here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab this URI string here, copy it there, and I'm gonna go ahead and paste it in here. Okay, but if you notice, it's empty. My username is not my username. The password is not just my password like that, right? So now, right now, it's also gonna give us an error because it's gonna try to authenticate. Authenticate has failed, okay? So we gotta make sure that we put in the right information in here. However, we don't wanna leave that into our index.js because we're gonna push this to GitHub and we don't wanna leave that up there. So rather than doing it like this, what we need to do is we need to create a variable for this. So we're gonna reach into process.env, and here's where we're gonna create a Mongo URI, okay, variable. And all this is doing is using the .env library or modules that we installed. We're gonna go into the process of Node. We're gonna grab the .env, and we're gonna reach in and grab this Mongo URI. So in our .env, let's do that. Let's create a Mongo URI variable where we could drop in this link, right? We're still missing username and password, and now we don't need to use this commented one here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick so that you don't see my username and password. Give me 1 second, and I don't want to change it, so let's just use it in here. And okay, and once you have it in, we're gonna restart this, and now we're finally connected to Mongo. Okay, make sure you have your username and password properly and the .env. Now we're finally connected to Mongo. Let's prettify that. And then we have the app listen. Okay, let's go ahead and do a simple get route here. The second parameter that get takes, it's a callback function with put in the same line, it's fine. And then we get a request, a response, and then we always want to send something back to the front end. Okay, so here is get route. Okay, that's our get route. And let's see if that's working. So we could go into a browser and then we could say like localhost 4040. And I'm not able to get anything there. Okay, why not? Cannot get localhost 4040. JSON. Okay, that's weird. This is 4040. And console log. Okay, so let's see how long we send this. Maybe I'm running something else on that. So 4050, let's try that. Whoa. I think they like that either. That's weird. 444. Let's see what we get on that. Yeah, that's very weird. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's running. Oh, because I have to restart my. So better to run in NodeMon. Okay, so that in NodeMon we're able to just get that route as we get the updated one. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we get the routes. We can just send it in JSON. That wasn't the issue. There we go. Here's the route. Okay, great. Now let's get a post so we can add an item into Node into Mongo. So we can request res. We're gonna actually do some more stuff here. So we could grab this games collection that is not created just yet. Right? We haven't created this collection yet. And you could see it if you go to your browse collections. And in here, you see that you'll only have like 3 collections, but I don't have a game store. Okay, game store is not here just yet. So I'm gonna reach into this collection, and in there I'm gonna insert 1. Okay, I'm gonna insert 1 game, and that takes a object where I can say like name, and I can say like God of War. Okay, and then I can say favorite, set it true. Okay. And when I hit that post, it's gonna go ahead and insert that one. However, we know that this insert 1 is gonna return a promise, so we have to await that. Okay, with async await, and let's send something back to the front end. So res JSON. Item was added. Okay, and then we did that. So now if we go into, for example, our postman, okay, and we said localhost, what port did we say? 4444, and we're not gonna get, we're actually gonna post. Okay, gonna hit that post, hit send. And then now it says item was added. So I'm gonna refresh my Mongo app real quick. Mongo Atlas. And then in here, now we get game store, database with games, and now God of War is part of this collection. So that document was inserted in there. Nice. So now rather than just sending back this non whatever message, let's just make sure that we open up a little bigger there, and we can say games, find all the games, and then convert into an array. And this is also going to give me a promise, which we need to await with await sync, and then we're gonna res JSON. Let's just say let's give it a name, all games, so that we can send that back. All games like this. Nice. Okay, cool. So nice. So we got our API local to talk to a Mongo database and Atlas. Very, very nice. Now the only other thing that I wanted to do today is to be able to deploy this API to Heroku. Okay, it's a really simple API, but it's working. So let's go ahead and deploy it to Heroku. Three things with Heroku we gotta keep in mind. Heroku wants to set its own port. Okay, it doesn't like it when we set the port for it. So we gotta make sure that we create like a port like this, and we go into our process env, and we're gonna create a port variable also inside of our .env. Okay, then that port we could use in here. That's step number one. Okay, the second thing, well, let's finish up with that env real quick. So let me minimize this. Let's show that here. And then in here we can say port, and we can say 4040 for example. Okay, it could be port whatever. What do we have? 4444. Okay, 4444. Because this is only gonna work locally, right? And then in our package JSON, we have to make sure that we tell what type of node, not what type, but what version of node we want to run. So we're gonna go into and set some engines in here, and we're going to set the node engine to be the same thing as what I'm running right now. So let's see what I'm running. I go node -v version 16, so I can say 16.x, so it could be like 16 and whatever. The next thing is that scripts. Heroku needs a start script, okay, that is basically going to do the following. So use node and run the index.js. Basically, it's going to start our project. Okay, it's going to start our project, and Heroku needs this. All right, so cool. Then the next thing we could do is we got to make sure that in the get ignore we have the .env and node modules ignored, so that Git does not track those changes. Also the package log, but whatever. We could do it like this. So Git init, and automatically those are ignored. And then we could do Git add, Git commit, first commit, API with Mongo Db. Okay, so we committed that. Nice. So now what we could do is we could go into our Heroku app, make sure that you're logged in, all that good stuff, and we can create a new app from here, and I could give it a name. I could just say like Node API Heroku test or whatever. Not available, so just add a JS at the end. Okay, good. These names are public and they're unique. Okay, so I'm gonna create an app, and that runs through the flow. Nice. I'm already logged into Heroku, so I don't need that. I'm already in my project. Now I already did get init. This one I do need. Heroku, get remote, add all that stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow those instructions. Let me minimize this a little more here. Here, there we go. All right, so that we can do it together, side to side. Paste that in here. Bam. All right, and then git add, git commits, and then all we have to do is this last one here. Okay, git push Heroku master. You notice that I created a Heroku origin here, and git push Heroku master. It's gonna push it up for us. It's gonna push it into Heroku. I've been using Heroku for a while now, and I really love it. Just to get small projects up and running really fast. So then from here, we're gonna be able to click on Open App once this deployment is done, and it seems to be done. So this is the link to open the app. Also, you could open it by clicking on this app here. But wait, there's something wrong here, right? And what we could see is that Heroku logs could show us what could be wrong. And these are great logs. So what's happening here is that it's trying to connect to Mongo, right? It's going through all these motions, right? It's going through, it's trying to read it's Mongo Db, but it's not finding it. So it's all screaming because of the URI. Okay, so the URI is why it's screaming. So you need to put your Mongo URI, which is that secure link that we have inside of our .env, right? We have this link, this long link here. We need to put that inside of Heroku so that Heroku knows where to get your database from, right? Awesome. So we do that by going to settings, and in the environment variables here, we add a key. We call it Mongo URI. So make sure it's exactly the same as we have in here. And then here we're gonna paste that value of the entire URI. So I'm gonna go ahead and just move it along here. I'm gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna just, I don't want to expose it, so I'm just gonna resize it a little bit. And once I paste it in there, make sure you paste it without the quotes. Okay, just add it on there now. And now, maybe it refresh. Now I'm getting my information from my Mongo database directly from my production API. Okay, my production API. All right, so now with this, I'm able to, connect via my front end and whatever. So my API is live. Okay, I hope that helped. If you have questions, definitely let me know. But that's all it takes to really create a Heroku app. And that's it for now. Thank you guys. Peace.